I want to make it clear, there's going to be a Democratic majority in just over a year. And to the FCC chairperson and anyone involved in these dirty deals, get a lawyer and save your records, because you're going to be in this room and you're going to be answering questions about the deals that you struck and who benefited and what the cost was to the American people because that happened.
Major drama in media circles. ABC has suspended Jimmy Kimmel's late night show indefinitely following controversial comments he made about Chakek's death. The suspension came immediately after FCC chairman Brenda Carr, a Trump appointee, publicly blasted Kimmel's monologue as truly sick and hinted that broadcasters could face regulatory consequences. Meanwhile, while all these are going on, the FCC Commissioner Ana Gomez has stated that this is a serious risk when letting regulatory bodies determines what news or information stays on air, especially when it has to do with political spate and satire. So guys, welcome back to my social commentary. I hope you are doing good. Like we always say, we are just publicizing information, and if today is your first time of coming across our video, do well to subscribe to our channel. Tell us what you think about this particular video in the comment section, and please help to like and share the video to help the channel out. You're welcome.
The FCC, this guy, Brendan Carr, yes. So this guy, the FCC, is we can do things the easy way, we can do things the hard way. Who is hiring these goons? Mario Puzo? The FCC, we're not happy until you're not happy, for God's sakes. When I was a kid, I was like 20 years old and I wanted to work at a radio station, so I went to Chicago to the FCC. You take a test, you pass the test, you have your third phone radio broadcasting license. That's what the FCC does. If you're a 50,000 watt clear channel radio station, once a year they'll come and check your dials to make sure you're not broadcasting at 55,000 watts. And God forbid you are, then you get an $8 fine. That is the FCC. I don't know what is going on.
What's it going to take for you to get off the sideline? I'm asking in earnest. I'm asking from a place of having a bunch of friends that are actually on the left, that are the liberal, and I still don't see them at protests. I don't see them doing any work, but you know, they're in a place of fear, maybe dread, panic. But what's it going to take for you to get off the sideline? I want discussion. I want people in the comments to talk about it, because we need people to get off the sideline. And I'm asking from a place of not hopelessness, but of full of hope. We should not be living in fear. What's happening is full-on fascism. Call it what it is. The Jimmy Kimmel firing has been just a beacon. There's been so many instances of this for months. For months, we've talked about it. It started with the law firms capitulating, universities capitulating, companies, everything, took out Colbert. What is it going to take? You have to get off the fucking sideline. Protest. Boycott businesses. It is not going to be in your comfort zone. I'm sorry. I am sorry that it's not going to be comfortable for you to do something. But you need to do something. Because what's worse is living in an authoritarian state. So what is it going to take to get you off the couch and join protests or cancel subscriptions to your favorite fucking streaming program or avoid doing businesses with people? What is it going to fucking take? And yes, I'm struggling with it too. You think it's easy to have a TikTok that talks politics, whether it's serious stuff or when I'm making fun of Trump and having some fun? I get death threats all the time for nothing from the party that all of a sudden, even though statistically is more prominent with political violence, the right wing. So I'm asking in earnest, help me. We can help each other. How can we mobilize more people and get them off the fucking sideline? Because this shit ain't easy. And neither is living in a fucking authoritarian theocracy led by the fucking Donald Trump, the most bigoted, con man president we've ever fucking had, that was probably in the files. What is it going to take? So please, like, share, comment below. We need to have this discussion.
On Wednesday night, ABC announced that Jimmy Kimmel Live is off the air indefinitely. The decision came shortly after Nexstar, the largest TV station owner in the U.S., said it was pulling the late-night program off the air due to Kimmel's remarks about the shooting death of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. During the monologue on his Monday show, Kimmel accused conservatives of using Kirk's death to score political points. He pushed back at the right-wing narrative that the suspected killer, Tyler Robinson, was radicalized by the left. That didn't sit well with FCC Chairman Brendan Carr. In a Wednesday podcast interview, Carr called Kimmel's comments, quote, the sickest conduct possible. He said Kimmel should be suspended. He also said that TV stations that carry Kimmel's show could pay the price if nothing is done. That got the attention of Nexstar, which has a proposed deal to merge with another station group, Tegna. The company needs FCC approval for that merger to go through. It's the latest example of a media company capitulating to make the Trump administration happy. They fear the damage that could be done to their businesses if they don't comply. Paramount paid $16 million to settle a lawsuit from President Trump over his 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. Trump accused CBS News of deceptively editing the sit-down to help her election effort. The suit had no merit, according to First Amendment experts, but Paramount needed FCC approval for its $8 billion merger with Skydance Media. Disney had also paid $16 million to get rid of a Trump suit against George Stephanopoulos. The news anchor said on the air that Trump had been convicted of sexual assault. Under a New York statute at the time, it was sexual abuse. Trump has made no secret of his desire to see his critics in the media punished, especially late-night hosts who have been using him as comedy fodder for the last decade. CBS canceled The Late Show with Stephen Colbert shortly after the 60 Minutes settlement. Trump celebrated Disney's decision to pull the program, and he wants more, calling for NBC to fire its late-night hosts Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers. ABC's action is likely to send shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Corporate media, especially companies with broadcast TV stations, have shown a disturbing willingness to fold under the administration's pressure. They desperately want TV station ownership rules changed, and that can't happen without government approval. But what will those stations be worth if their programs have to appeal to an audience of one? The question now is whether Kimmel will return, and if he does, what does he say to satisfy the Trump administration and the TV stations that clearly fear retribution if they don't fall in line?
Jimmy Kimmel being taken off of ABC, was it right? Or was it about their right to do it? Who knows? There's a bigger picture, but I don't think Jimmy said anything wrong. He said his opinion, which is what this country, First Amendment, freedom of speech, the one thing that we have. But by taking Jimmy off of ABC, you're kind of telling us that we don't have that right. And is everybody actually, I see so many people, cancel my Disney Plus, my Hulu, my ESPN. Are you guys actually doing it, or are you saying that you're actually doing it? Because it's one thing to say, and it's another thing to do. But I don't think Jimmy said anything wrong. And I hope Jimmy sues the shit out of ABC and Disney. And this goes even higher. I know they're already subpoenaing the head of the FCC, but I hope this goes as far as Jimmy can take it. So let's see what happens. But freedom of speech, y'all.
Remember the Bill of Rights, those first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution we all learn about in school? Well, the First Amendment to the Bill of Rights reads, and let me quote, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech, ... But just this week, Brendan Carr, the man that Trump appointed chairman of the Federal Communications Committee, he actually threatened to revoke the licenses of ABC stations if they didn't punish Jimmy Kimmel for something he said on his TV show. And then last night, ABC caved. They actually indefinitely terminated Jimmy Kimmel Live. This is ABC abridging the freedom of speech because of threats from Brendan Carr and Donald Trump. This ABC action is just the latest example of the Trump threats to violate freedom of speech across the country. they're getting people fired for expressing opinion. He's bullying the press with lawsuits and government powers to silence critics, and he's targeting political opposition. This is an abuse of power, and the Trump administration officials are using their abuse of power to assault any speech that they don't like. This is not just unfair and illegal, it's unconstitutional. And Brendan Carr needs to resign as head of the FCC, and I wish my Republican friends would stand up for the free speech they have often vocally defended.
Know what's going on, and no one does, but I do know Jimmy Kimmel, and he's a decent, funny, and loving guy, and I hope he comes back.
It is a privilege and an honor to call Jimmy Kimmel my friend, in the same way that it's a privilege and honor to do this show every night.
Our great administration has laid out very clear rules on free speech. Now, some naysayers may argue that this administration's speech concerns are merely a cynical ploy, a thin gruel of a ruse, a smokescreen to obscure an unprecedented consolidation of power and unitary intimidation, principleless and coldly antithetical to any experiment in a constitutional republic governance. Some people would say that. Not me, though. I think it's great.
I just want to say before we get started here that I've always admired and respected Mr. Trump. I've always believed he was, a visionary, innovator, a great president, an even better golfer. And if you've ever seen me say anything negative about him, that's just AI.
Anyway, to sum it up, President Trump is
making America great again by restoring our national reputation, reinvigorating our economy, and rebuilding our military. I hereby nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Let's see what Jimmy Kimmel said here. We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points. Now, wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. When Trump gave that speech from the White House where he was talking about the violence from the radical left, and all the crimes that had been perpetrated by the left and completely omitted crimes that you remember he gave that speech. We didn't have a suspect yet, did we? So what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to describe to me a person going in front of the nation and prosecuting a case against the radical left when there is no suspect to be had, without including the ideas of scoring political points and what was that? Trying to characterize the kid as anything other than one of them. Just try. I would love for you to try to characterize that in any other way. And then what was the other thing that he said? He said, oh, that's how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
How are you holding up over the last 3.5 days? I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House.
Okay, I'll be honest. A 4-year-old probably would have stayed more on topic. You know what I mean? That one, hey, Jimmy, that one, a 4-year-old probably would have stayed more on topic, if I'm being honest. I think we got to go lower.
But a woman just stood up and started screaming. And she got booed out of the place, too. There were a lot of people in the restaurant. I went there to show how safe, and it was safe. I mean, the woman is just a mouthpiece. All she was a paid agitator. And you have a lot of them. And I've asked Pam to look into that in terms of RICO, bringing RICO cases against the criminal RICO, because they should be put in jail. What they're doing.
I love that you would ever try and argue the merits of Jimmy Kimmel's suspension after he's already absurdly floated out RICO cases on protesters. Yes, at a restaurant. He already gave the game away. This is like your partner admitting that y'all bent the cards and you trying to make a case about how amazing your memory is.
Did I hear this correctly? That The View could possibly be investigated by the FCC?
Other than SNL, are bona fide news programs. And potentially, I would assume you can make the argument that The View is a bona fide news show. But I'm not so sure about that. And I think it's worthwhile to have the FCC look into whether The View and some of these other programs that you have still qualify as bona fide news programs.
Scott Jennings announced on his X account that he was going to be interviewing the chair of the FCC, Brendan Carr. We're talking about how these TV shows are being labeled as bona fide news stations. And he's talking about how these shows are being labeled as bona fide news stations so that they can avoid the equal opportunity rule. And that rule says that if you are a TV show that is not considered a bona fide news station, you have to provide equal opportunity, especially when it comes to an election year. That if you have one candidate on, you also have to feature the other candidate. However, if you are ruled as a bona fide news station, you don't have to follow that rule. And somehow The View is being looked at as a bona fide news station, which, how and why? These guys don't report the news. What they do is they get on TV and they cackle and complain and be bitter women about social issues that most of us don't even care about, and complain about how much they hate our current sitting president. And they feature everyone on the opposing side, but very rarely do they bring anyone on the right side. So yeah, I really do hope that the head of the FCC does investigate The View, and the best thing that they can do is just cancel that damn show.
So guys, thank you for watching the video. So why all eyes are on FCC next move? This isn't just about the controversy between the Jimmy Kimmel and his suspension or whatever, but it is about how government influence should reach into free speeches, comedy and media in the United States of America. So guys, thank you for watching our video. We really appreciate, and like we said before, if today is your first time of coming across our video, do well to subscribe to our channel. Tell us what you think about this video in the comment section. Please do ensure to like and share the video to help the channel out so that more people will be aware of what is happening in the country. You're welcome.